me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
If robots can drive the lawnmowers better, cheaper, more efficient than the human version, the man hours sitting on top of a lawnmower will then shift to man hours managing a fleet of robots. And there's going to be a time period where we learn to integrate with these robots into into the work environment. Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. We shine a light on the behind-the-scenes heroes who keep our parks vibrant and our communities connected. Today, we're diving into facility maintenance. We're exploring critical areas like urban forestry, focusing on certified arborists and long-term tree planting plans in urban environments. We're also looking at new disruptions in the industry, like the rise of robotic lawnmowers and field painters that promise massive efficiency gains. Our mission is to help the parks and recreation industry find ways to do more with less, freeing up capital and man hours to improve our park systems. We'll highlight best practices in field maintenance, playground design and safety, and even the complexities of maintaining aquatic centers. This show is about empowering our professionals and embracing the future of parks and recreation. Let's dive in. Okay. I think we are live now. Sorry, had a little glitch there. Um, okay, so no guest today. My fault because I'm trying to fix a lot of technical stuff on the back end, and I'm trying to prepare for our new show today with hosts, Youth Sports Mastery. We finally got the logo squared away. We're working on our mission and vision and purpose of the Youth Sports Mastery show. So looking forward to that today. Been kind of building up for that for the last maybe 3 weeks. But about the facilities maintenance show, we had a really good guest this week in Joseph. He came back to really help us build out what we want this show to be about. And then I had a great guest scheduled on, it was Wednesday, yeah, yesterday, Daniel Schaefer, and the internet just blew up on us because of the storms that hit the South. Not sure if y'all have heard about that, but we do have a lot of stuff scheduled for the facilities maintenance show coming up. This first kind of 3 or 4 weeks is where we're just trying to build everything behind the scenes, and then also understand, what. And I'm having a lot of these conversations every day with Parks and Rec professionals that work in facilities maintenance, and really trying to dig into what we want this show to be about. So let me tell you what we have so far. What part, and here's the question I'm looking to answer. What parts of facilities maintenance do we want to create content around? And what we have so far is one of our front runners was just urban forestry. Having arborists, certified arborists that are managing urban forests, that are laying out,
long 20, 30-year plans of planting 5,000, 10,000 trees in an urban environment where there's, concrete and sidewalks and roads and things underground like drainage and electrical that we have to avoid. And, just what are the whole thought behind that? And this is a very, um, I guess, not so well understood part of Parks and Rec, but often finds itself managing the urban forest is usually in the Parks and Rec department. So that was one. The other one was updating the industry on what are the new disruptions coming to this industry. So, what do I mean by disruptions? If robots can drive the lawnmowers better, cheaper, more efficient than the human version sitting on top of the lawnmowers, then that's going to be a major disruptor because the man hours sitting on top of a lawnmower will then shift to man hours managing a fleet of robots, keeping them, I'm sure in the early stages, these robots are going to find themselves in the ditch or run over a big T-shirt that maybe the kids left the day before. And there's going to be a time period where we learn to integrate with these robots into into the work environment. And now I think what it's going to look like is instead of a man sitting on a machine, the man is managing the machine kind of like a shepherd herds and manages his flock. And so I anticipate that these robots are going to need help. They need help getting to the job site. They need help getting their battery swapped, getting their blade swapped. They need help being told what to do, when to do it, scheduling, all that kind of stuff. And so I think that's where we're going to see a lot of the field maintenance, field sprayers, managing the weeds, application of fertilizers, application of pesticides. Um, for now, the trim work looks like that there's not many good solutions for that, but you can anticipate that even the trim work will be done. When I say trim work, the weed eating, stuff around the edges, that kind of stuff will still be done by humans. But anyway, as that rolls out, there are a lot of good companies that I've been in touch with to come and educate this industry on what that looks like, what's the latest and greatest, so that we can be, here we go, a first mover. I love being the first to embrace disruptive technology that is replacing an old legacy system because there's so many efficiencies to be had. And if there's any industry that I would love to help find more resources to be able to do more with less, to be able to take that capital and maybe finally build or rebuild this old playground in this community because we freed up a lot of capital, or we can just, we can raise the level of, the maintenance level of our park systems when we can free up man hours, when we can free up capital, and just be better stewards of the capital that we're giving. And technology is like the, it is the standard bearer for efficiency gains. And there are a lot heading to this industry. And that's one of the contributions I think I can help make is just introduce, if you had to look around Parks and Rec and say, where can we do more with less? Facilities maintenance is a big target because of the sheer volume of work that they do, the man hours that they have. And facilities maintenance, I've never met anyone in facilities maintenance that ever said, we really don't have a lot to do over here. We're kind of just waiting for our director to just give us something to do. What, that happened never. There's always a backlog of projects, of things broken, of deferred maintenance, of the grass keeps growing. We lost an employee due to retirement and we never replaced him, and it's been 2 years. You ever heard that story? And so this is very common. And so I think robotics can come in on that grass cutting side, the field spraying, and then the application side of pesticides and fertilizers, and then also on field painting, like a lot of the sports field need field striping. So now we have robots that can do all that stuff. I think that's just an easy win for the industry. So we want to kind of be at the forefront of that. And as I said, be an early adopter, not the last. Look, just because we are municipal government and we're slow to change doesn't mean it has to be that way up on all things. We can actually embrace AI efficiencies and robotic efficiencies and reap those benefits today. There's no reason why we can't maybe take and just buy one lawnmower or one field sprayer and just try it out and learn to work with it. And then kind of ease into it. It's not going to be that's it. We're replacing every lawnmower with a robot and we're firing off all of our grass cutters. That's not how this is going to roll out. If anything, you're just going to empower the current team you have to do the job you've given them to do and not fall behind year after year or day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And I think that's kind of where we find facilities maintenance is, a lot of times the story is we seem to be falling behind. And it's because a lot of times parks and rec departments are the catch-all for the latest thing that hit the city. Give that to the Parks and Rec department. They can handle it. They've handled the last 10 things I gave them over the last decade. But oftentimes facilities maintenance is not given any extra budget. They're not given any extra manpower to do this new task. And so they try to fit it into their current stack of tasks that they have to do. But it's before they really incorporate that, there's another thing that's added onto them. And so this is a problem that we just want to take a good hard look at and maybe highlight the cities that are dealing with this very natural rhythm well, and highlight the best practices and what are they doing to handle the never-ending stream of new projects that's dumped on their maintenance department. How do they deal with it? And how do they deal with I was talking to somebody in that city of Dallas, shout out to Roberto. Hopefully I'm not getting him in trouble by saying any of this, but I think it's such a common problem. I don't think it's scandalous that I think he had 9 electricians in one section of his park system and they came down to 7. My numbers might be off. And it's been like 1 and then 2 years that they've just lived without these 2 positions being filled. And so you can imagine their backlog is just getting pushed back, pushed back, pushed back. And it's really not, if a baseball field has 40 lights and 35 are out and then it goes from 35 to 30, it's not, at some point, if there's 2 lights on the field, you just can't even play on the field at night, as an example. But it's just not, the parks are just, how many parks throughout America can we go across and say, this park needs a little love and affection and attention from a maintenance program that's well funded and has the man hours to keep it up. And if we had the extra time, we could maybe pressure wash a little more frequently. We could maybe throw a good paint job on it. We could maybe have these little break fixes or roof problems. We can kind of get ahead of them. So I don't want people to think that once the robots take over grass cutting, we'll have nothing left to do because it's such a big chunk of what we do. No, not the case at all. You will be redeployed and used places where only humans are going to be for quite some time. Now, I'm not saying in the future robots aren't taking over all of our jobs, but we're not there yet. And trust me, I am on the bleeding edge of this. I'm an engineer by trade, and I was an investor into disruptive technologies for quite a while. And so just as a personal passion of mine, I follow this very closely. And for those of you that think that the robots are around the corner getting ready to take over our jobs as the mowers can operate themselves, yes, they are coming. Yes, they are getting better and smarter with every day that passes. But it just takes a lot of time for the factories of the world to bend metal into the shape of a robot. You're replacing a massive, massive fleet of machines that you just cannot crank them out fast enough. If everyone stopped making lawnmowers today that are driven by machines and started making fully autonomous robots today, it would still take many, many years to just build the fleet and get it into the hands of the Parks and Rec department. So, no need to panic just yet. We're talking about probably a decade. Now, the technology might be available. I think we've got some good stuff out there right now. That I mean, we've got some products that are painting fields real time, live. We've also got some really good lawnmowers that are, they're a little quirky right now, but they're improving constantly. And there's a lot of great startup companies that are doing some phenomenal work on fully autonomous robots. And we're going to have them on the show actually to tell us where we are. But just because you've got the technology doesn't mean you've built, a million of something. And look, mass production. Take this from a former manufacturer. Okay, this is what I did for a decade. I manufactured things at scale. Manufacturing things at scale is one of the hardest things that there is to do on Earth. Anybody can make one great robot and Boston Dynamics is a great, if you haven't seen the Boston Dynamics, go YouTube it and you can watch their progression. But each one of those robots is millions of dollars. And yes, they can do all kind of parkour tricks and stuff, but it's a hard engineering problem to make one $10 million Boston Dynamics robot that can, dance like a human. And it's amazing to watch. But who cares if no one can afford it? And if no one can bring it onto your workforce, we can't afford a $10 million grass cutter. And so once you design something in the laboratory or, in the shop, now you have to hand it over to a manufacturing team. And this thing now has to be mass produced. And what you'll find is a lot of these engineered components, no one makes them. That's the problem you have when you invent something is the parts of the something are not mass manufactured. And so you either have to mass manufacture themselves or find a way to use an industry that is mass manufacturing something and use that part because somebody already makes that bearing and they can deliver a million of those bearings to us. But if your bearing is very special and unique for this one shoulder joint that exists in a humanoid robot or something like that, then okay, yes, it works and all the others break, but now where are you going to get a million of them from? Who's going to make those for you? And who's going to want to build the molds and stuff? And so it really is a big problem to mass manufacture something. Now, there are great companies on it because it's such a big reward. But a lot of the buyers are in the wait and see category. And so they're afraid to just replace all of their fleet immediately. So they'll typically buy just one, try it out, or let some other city experiment with this. And when it's just an obvious choice, then we'll come in and buy it. And so that's the dilemma of somebody inventing something new for an industry. And I think we're seeing some real pioneers in robotics and autonomy and AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, incorporating that into a grass cutter. And that's the application that you would use it for. And then just digging your heels in from an engineering standpoint, from a manufacturing standpoint. And yes, from even, I think the Daily Parks and Rec show with the facilities maintenance can do our part in just keeping the industry updated as to where we are. Because I think this is going to be a huge win because as my grandmother used to teach me, it's not about how much money you make, it's how much money you save and how efficient you are with using your capital. And so I just think it's going to be a big efficiency boost for facilities, for park and rec facility maintenance. And it's coming. And in some cases, it's actually here. But here at scale, okay, now we're getting there. We're getting there. And it's because the prize is just so big. And that's the reason we're getting there quickly. When you've got a massive efficiency gain on man and machine, that's when the capital markets just move. If there wasn't a big prize to be had by making a fully autonomous robot, then yeah, I'd be like, it's not going to go anywhere. It's more of like a passion project. But because it's such a real deal, and I think we've seen it like with the Tesla cars. It's having a car that can drive itself really opens up um, a whole new industries. And so I think this is just going to be one of those. And I would love to see Parks and Rec, be a leader in this. So I'm going to keep beating that drum. So what are some other things that we want to learn about? So I really want to dig into field maintenance, all the different things when it comes to pesticides, fertilizers, drainage, irrigation, mowing, all the other machines that go along with it that we don't talk about a whole lot, and really just really understand what it takes to maintain a healthy lawn, whether it's on a field and we need to schedule downtime. I can tell you that if you're maintaining a field, nothing hurts your field more than people on the field. Okay. If anything, you want people to stay off the field. That would be perfect. Unfortunately, now golf courses, for the most part, just don't have people on their field because it's just like you let a couple of guys across it. But soccer fields with a bunch of screaming kids running constantly on it, and of course, park programmers, rec programmers, youth sports programmers are trying to get as many people on the field as possible because we want to use this land and get as much out of it as we can. But the poor guys managing this grass is like you're stomping it literally you're stomping it into the ground. And sometimes the best thing you can do for a field is just get off of it and let it heal from all this activity, right? And so I really want to dig into that world and understand best practices and really just highlight the constant battle that field maintenance professionals face for this industry. I just don't think that story's told much and not really appreciated what they have to go through. Um, and then there's all different levels. I mean, you can literally just cut the grass and that's it. And then you can maybe work on getting all the little sticky thorns out. And then you can work on maybe not having these areas where it's just worn down. And then you can work on proper irrigation. And then you can work on proper drainage. And you can just keep upping the standard of what it means to maintain a sports field or a green space to the nth degree. To before you know it, you're looking at a beautiful lawn, manicured. But there's a huge difference between no weeds, great drainage, great irrigation on the sprinkler system, healthy lawn, no spots where it's worn down due to foot traffic, and just cut the weeds. Like, just cut the grass. That's all we need to do. There's like a Grand Canyon between those two bookends. And oftentimes parks find themselves somewhere in the middle. Now, when I cut grass for West Baton Rouge Parish, is what we call them in Louisiana, we just cut the grass. And we treated weeds and St. Augustine the same. We just cut it. We didn't really worry about anything else. But a lot of these were just country fields and stuff. But now, since I see them doing a lot more than just cutting grass, and actually a lot of park systems have even gone to turf. But some are just saying, what about our green spaces? We want to keep those to where they don't have thorns and we can have family picnics and little kids aren't getting stickers in their feet when they're running through the grass and stuff. And so, but it really is quite the profession to be able to maintain this lawn. And I'm learning more and more about it myself. I am not a professional lawn maintenance. I'm not a lawn maintenance professional. I don't understand all the different battles that they have, but I can hand the mic to somebody that does that. And that's what we're going to do. So anyway, that's one category. So urban forestry, maintaining all the different green spaces, all the different athletic fields, pretty much maintaining grass, maintaining lawns. That's another big hot topic. Another one is playgrounds. Playground maintenance is more than I thought. As I started to peel back the onion, I'm finding that there's so many layers to choosing architecting the surrounding areas of a playground to where you can see. I never even thought about this. I'm sure y'all think about this, but don't you want to see completely through and around the playground before you get out the car? Like, you think about it. Think about this: a well-designed playground and all the surrounding areas and its relation to the parking lot. You want to pull up with a couple of, let's say you're a mama and you got a little baby and you got a little toddler and you want to go for a walk in the stroller with your baby, with your maybe 1 year old that's still in the stroller, and you want to turn your two toddlers loose to just kind of get their energy on. You're taking them for a day on the park. Wouldn't you want to see if there's somebody that's maybe hiding in the playground or behind a bush, maybe that could attack you, or maybe somebody suspicious you just don't feel comfortable around? Wouldn't you want to see, be able to look at all the whole playground, all the surrounding area before you even get out your car? Well, don't you think that's designed? That's by design. And now um, that it's being brought to my attention, I'm like, duh, that makes sense. But I never thought about it until somebody pointed it out to me, that a well-designed playground, you pull up into the parking lot, you can see everything without getting out of your car. Then you get out of your car, put your baby in the little stroller, and turn your kids loose. And then it'd be nice to have a fence all the way around that playground so that, your toddlers, while you don't just take off. There's like one single point of entry kind of thing. Um, but anyway, so that's playground design. But then also, what about playground maintenance? So you've got this fall, they call it fall material. So this is, imagine you're on a swing, you're on a slide, you're on a playground, and you fall. And now, whether you're just tripping or whether you're falling from a few feet up or whether you're jumping off the swing, um, the fall material is stuff that kind of cushions the landing, right? And so a lot of times there is mulch or some sort of material that can get kicked out of the way. So you're regularly having to do this unless you get the rubberized surfaces. That's, obviously you can't kick that out of the way. But a lot of times that can get worn down in high traffic areas. And then what does it take to maintain a playground? Whether that's tightening the bolts, doing like a whatever 20-point inspection, also cleaning up from last night's activities. There may be some adults that were hiding in the playground, whether they're doing, things or needles or bottles or whatever. Got to clean that up before the little toddlers come around. So anything, all things playground maintenance, and then playground safety. There's a whole certification around playground safety, and having some of those on the channel, creating content so that you can kind of brush up on what's the latest and greatest in playground equipment, playground safety, playground design, playground, all things. And then we layer on top of that splash pads. Now we just, basically make it a swimming pool minus the pool, but all the chemicals are the same and all the water treatment's the same, and, whatever. And so that's a whole nother layer of complication on top of an average playground, is to make it a splash pad. And these things aren't cheap, by the way. I know y'all know this as an industry, that this is many times multi-million-dollar improvement to a piece of land on side of a community center or inside of a park. So this is not like small change we're talking about here. Not only does it have a massive upfront cost of many times, a decent playground can chew up $1 million like it meant nothing. And then you've got ongoing maintenance, ongoing repair. You can make these playgrounds last much longer if you just care for them properly. So that's a big chunk of facilities maintenance. And then we can get into just aquatic centers. Maintaining Olympic-sized swimming pools. What is that like? You've got an entire department dedicated to aquatics, but then there's a whole team inside that department that maintains that facility. And there's a whole craft around that. So there's a lot of topics to cover here on facilities maintenance, and I'm just scratching the surface on it. And then, just because you discover one topic, you'll find that it goes super deep. I discovered this with urban forestry. So, I love trees. I live in the South. We live under a canopy of trees. Pretty much anywhere around south of I-10 in Louisiana, there's trees everywhere. Big, huge 200, 300-year-old trees, and they're all in our cities. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, pretty much shaded by 200 or 300 gorgeous live oaks and magnolia trees, and you name it. So, but I forget that a lot of the world doesn't have that. That sometimes, you're in a cow pasture and you basically create a subdivision, and there were never any trees. And so the heat map now is just, if you look at the heat map of a concrete jungle, it's like suffocating. But if you can add mature trees and plan ahead, which cities do because they're going to be 100-year-old. Cities don't go out of business. They go bankrupt, but they don't go out of business. They're not kicking the citizens out. So it's important for cities to think long term, and uh, it's no more evident than when you think about urban forests. What are the 200 and 300-year-old trees that we're going to plant, knowing that I'll be dead before they really come into their contribution to that city or that neighborhood. Um, it's kind of like saying the best time to plant a tree was 200 years ago. The second best time is today. So, and if you want to see a great example of that, just come to City Park, New Orleans, or LSU campus right here in Baton Rouge, and you will see some magnificent 200 and 300-year-old oak trees everywhere, and they really make the campus. If you deleted those from the urban landscape, it would just be, it would completely change the entire look and feel of the place. It's almost like part of the culture of LSU and many the streets of New Orleans. And so it's an important part of Parks and Recreation. And so anyway, that's what we're looking. That's the content we're kind of looking. We're driving. What I'm trying to do is update y'all on I'm probably pushing 40 conversations. I would say probably 50 conversations on facilities maintenance, superintendents, field maintenance, urban forestry, aquatic centers. And this is the kind of content that we're looking to put on this 10:30 time slot, Monday through Thursday. Hey, and I even have a little promo to play for this. So let me go ahead and play this while it's still here. Chris, I think you were the one that made this, but I'm not even sure. But we're going to be working on version 2. So we're going to get all the mileage we can out of this one. Here's a little quick minute and 10 seconds about what this show is about at the 10:30 slot. And we'll be coming out with a version 2 probably by the end of this month, I'm hoping. All right, here we go.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we highlight the essential work that keeps our parks and facilities thriving. From local ball fields to multi-use athletic complexes, field maintenance ensures every space is safe, ready, and welcoming for play and community events. Facility maintenance is the backbone of operational excellence, ensuring that recreation centers, playgrounds, and shared spaces are functional, clean, and built to last. Behind the scenes, equipment maintenance keeps vital tools and machinery in peak condition. At the core of future forward thinking is sustainability management, integrating green practices that reduce environmental impact and enhance long-term resource stewardship. Facilities maintenance is more than routine upkeep. It's strategic, essential, and foundational to building healthy and resilient communities. This is the Daily Parks and Rec Show, honoring the professionals who keep our spaces running and our communities strong.
It's amazing to think that whoever made that, and I'm sorry if it's Chris or Kathleen, I know one of them made that video, that they made that video with very little input, because we haven't even started, I think, the facilities maintenance show, and they hadn't been able to watch several hours or maybe 10, 20 hours. So think of your life of a video editor. You're given a 1-hour live show, and then your job is to watch it, pull out a highlight reel, make a teaser, kind of promote whatever the guest is working on, whether it be his city or a new facility or playground that they have, to kind of create a little commercial for that. And so, but if you watch a few of these, you get a rough idea of what the mission and vision and purpose of the facilities maintenance show is. And so you could probably create a good little 1 or 2 minute teaser, right? Well, they didn't have any of that yet. We hadn't even started, and I'm shocked at how on point a lot of that messaging was just on version 1. So great job to whoever made that on our design team. They really are working hard to build a strong brand, and build basically a media company for Parks and Recreation. So great job design team on that one. Okay. I think I've said enough on facilities maintenance today, especially since I don't have a guest. But I do want to give a couple of updates that we've got going on. We have okay, so what is DPRS Media Co? That is the now parent company. The acronym was Daily Parks and Rec Show. So rather than saying the Daily Parks and Rec Show, the whole team working on building this media company would just say DPRS. And so we just took that acronym and put media company, and that's going to be the parent company that all Parks and Rec can call home. And so I'm saying this because we now have 3 podcasts that kind of have tried to start or have started, but really don't have a design team. They don't have a network. They don't have social media managers like what we have in the Daily Parks and Rec Show or DPRS Media Company. And so as I connect with these people, I'm like saying, hey, keep your podcast going, keep creating your content. Why don't you create it underneath the umbrella of DPRS Media Co. and let us add that a technical layer so that we can get your message out, which we believe is a good message. So if you are a podcaster that would like to create content or are already creating content for the industry of parks and recreation, please reach out to me on LinkedIn and let's take you to the next level. I'm not going to charge you anything for it. So you'll get all the expertise and all the skill set of a full-time video editor, sound editor, social media manager, graphics designer. Plus we know how to package your content. And then we know how to, more importantly, distribute your content across platforms and get you a lot wider and broader audience. Because if you're making good content for parks and recreation that's relevant to this community and bringing value to this community with your content, then that is squarely in line with our mission of creating a media company where parks and recreation can call its home. And we've already got 3 that are doing this. And one of them actually turned into our show today at 1:30, which is Aaron Locks, my co-host for Youth Sport Mastery. Now, this is no ordinary topic or podcast about Parks and Rec. This is a very important part of Parks and Recreation. This is kind of like the rec side, and then inside the rec side, it's youth sports. So there's a ton of programming, a ton of coaching, so if you look at everything Parks and Rec, top to bottom, if you could just like put it all on the table, what chunk of it is dedicated to sports fields, to sports, to youth sports, and I say youth sports, even adult sports. Think of all the fields that have to be cut. Think of everything's got to get striped. Think of all the volunteers coaching. Think about the thousands and thousands of children that get uniforms, that step onto your property, that need a place to park, need a place to use the bathroom, concession stand workers, like all of that. At the heart of it is a little baseball team, a little basketball team, a little pickleball team, right? Tennis teams, volleyball teams, soccer teams, football teams, ranging from all ages, ranging from super competitive to just, no, we're just trying to get them on the field to understand team dynamics, team sports, discovering their bodies as far as what they can do athletically, how to push themselves, how to deal with falling down. Like there's so many generational lessons that are handed down from one generation to the next on the sports field. Well, obviously we want to dedicate, if we're looking to serve this community of parks and recreation, there's no way we cannot have a show dedicated to youth sports. And so we call it Youth Sports Mastery. So far, we're just going to do this once a week. We may kick it up to twice a week, but we're just going to start, me and Aaron, today, 1:30 Eastern, every Thursday. Tune in to our Youth Sports Mastery show live on X, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, y'all, all the usual suspects. Got to get it on Nostr. If you don't know what Nostr is, look into it. It's a great protocol that's really going to unleash all social media and stuff. I know I'm derailing the topic a little bit, but it really is an important topic that we actually don't have social media that can be controlled. that we want uncontrollable social media that the people can just say, hey, this content can't get taken down, censored, destroyed, whatever. I think that's really important to me, that if we're a community that creates content for ourselves, that we want to be able to control its destination, and don't have somebody that's has nothing to do with Parks and Rec. They just own a big platform, and then they can come and just delete your account and delete your platform and delete your content and delete your community. So Nostr makes that impossible. It's a new internet protocol. So I say that because eventually we're going to move all our content to there as well, in addition to all the other places that we have our content. I say that because I want to make sure that if we create something valuable, that it withstands the test of time, and that if Parks and Rec ever becomes an enemy of these centralized social media platforms, they really can't hurt us, and that we really are a durable media company that has a safe content library for years and years to come. So that's kind of what's happening in the scenes, behind the scenes. Anyway, back to you, Sports Mastery. Yeah, so we have a guest coming on today. Hold on, I should know this. Aaron just sent it to me. Let me continue. Let's see. Aaron Locks. Zora. Zora is coming on today as our guest. And it's going to be our first show. So I'm really looking forward to this. And yeah, that's going to be a big chunk of what we do. And it's my first co-host ever. So Aaron, I love you, man. I really appreciate you coming on and stepping up to the plate and coming on as a co-host and helping me build a media company for Parks and Recreation. And then having a show that you've pretty much dedicated your life to, youth sports. And so that really means a lot to me. And I know we're just going to create really good content. So can't wait to do that. All starting today, 1:30. Don't miss it. Eastern, every Thursday. Okay, so YPN, that's our next show. We have, I think we're coming up on our 6th show this coming Friday. I think we have a guest. I think it's kind of on the rocks, but man, I've been having great conversations. So one of the things that I ask every time I make a phone call, of which I make about an average of 2 to 3 phone calls is scheduled for me, 1-hour phone calls with a director. I think I'm approaching my 350th 1-hour phone call with the leaders in this community. And this is our 130th episode on Parks and Recreation. But one of the questions I've asked is, tell me about your internship program. How does a college student in some degree that's somehow associated with Parks and Rec, whether it be sports management, an actual Parks and Rec degree, or a hospitality degree or something like that, how do they come spend 1 semester in your program? Is it, and I'm finding that it's all over the map, and many don't even have one. Many don't even have a strong, structured internship program, paid or unpaid. However, there are some, and I'm finding out, that have a very strong, robust, paid internship program where they can even shadow the Park and Rec director, the assistant director, the superintendent, and they can get a taste for all the different departments. Shout out to Molly Keys. Go look at last Friday's episode. There are parks departments that are doing this. And if we want to get Parks and Recreation out of this discovery major, and we want our universities to continue to support this industry by offering degrees catering to this industry, then we have to do our part, right? And have a place where interns can come discover what it is to be in Parks and Rec. And I can't think of a better positioned industry than Parks and Recreation, because we're already having 200 to 300 part-timers since they were 15. So I don't even understand how this is a discovery major. You've probably got the largest population of high schoolers working for you on summers and concession stands, and we're just not taking advantage of the opportunity to educate and encourage during the onboarding process, during the initiation, not initiation, what's the word I'm thinking of? Um, when you start your first week of work. And so many times Parks and Recreation is the first job that a person has ever had. It's their first time of being part of the workforce, being an employee, and maybe it's just working a summer camp. And so we should take advantage of that opportunity to say, hey, have you considered working in Parks and Rec as a career path? And so YPN is a Friday show, 12 noon, that we've dedicated to young professionals and all things that affect new talent coming into this industry. It's a time for you to have your voice heard. It's a time for us to talk about the next generation coming into this industry. It's a time to give teachers and professors who are actively teaching at the university level to come tell us what's going on. It's a time for these students, as you've seen, to come and tell us, what's their experience like coming through an internship program, and to just get the message out there. Okay. Every Friday, 52 shows a year. That's the topic. Okay. So I think that's all I have for today. I know this has been more of an update. This is typically our facilities maintenance show, which is going to run from Monday through Thursday, 10:30 a.m., 4 days a week, all about facilities maintenance. Next, we have our Leaders in Parks and Rec, which was our flagship show, 12 noon Eastern, Monday through Thursday. Today, we're launching our Youth Sports Mastery, 1:30 p.m. Eastern every Thursday. And of course, we've got our YPN Fridays, 12 noon every Friday, to talk about the next generation that's coming into this industry. So if you've been in this industry for less than, we'll take you all the way from 18 years old coming into this industry all the way up to maybe first 5 years of employment. Really under 30 kind of is the age group that we're looking to target. Really, they're thinking about how do we drive the message into the rest of the world about what Parks and Rec is and the opportunities for the young people. Call it home. And then don't worry, I have not forgotten about Financial Fridays. I'm actually talking with a few people that are going to help me co-host that one so that we can really dig deep into the financials, cost recovery, grant writing, deferred maintenance, strategic planning, all those fun spreadsheet, bean counters, accounting numbers, things that we all love as Parks and Rec. I know y'all just cannot wait to get a hold of a Parks and Rec spreadsheet that helps you manage your numbers better and face those very intimidating financial obstacles that are coming your way. Anyway, we've got a whole show in the works. It's in the kitchen. I'm just launching a few other things with it. And we've got 3 other podcasts that are going to be joining the Daily Parks and Rec Show family. And so looking to really help them organize and bring their content onto this media platform dedicated to Parks and Rec. So, all right, I'll go ahead and close it out here as I prepare for my next Leaders in Parks and Rec at 12 noon here shortly. Y'all have a great morning, great day, and I will see y'all here in a little bit. Love you guys. Bye.
The future of parks and recreation is here, and it starts with you. Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Recreation Show, where we bring you the latest insights, trends, and conversations shaping the world of parks and recreation. Today, we're diving into something that's shaping the future of our industry, Young Professional Networks, or YPN. If you love your job and love the parks and recreation community and are looking to connect with the next generation of leaders, this episode is for you. YPN is where driven, passionate professionals come together to connect, grow, and make a real impact. It's not just about networking, it's about building the future of our communities. Why join YPN? Career growth and mentorship. Learn from the best in the industry. Innovative ideas and collaboration. Be part of the next big movement. Leadership development. Take charge, make decisions, and create change. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take your career to the next level, YPN is your gateway to success. From exclusive networking opportunities to cutting-edge industry insights, this is where you build your legacy. Because the future of parks and recreation starts with you.